concept called depth sorting, sometimes also known as stacking order. Basically, depth sorting is a concept of determining or sorting objects from the front to the back. You can think of it like a bunch of cards scattered on a table. We can see clearly the cards in front, and we hardly see the cards in the back because they are being blocked by other cards. In Adobe Illustrator, we can control depth sorting in several ways. For this example, let's first create this red rectangle, and then blue circle, and the last one we're going to create an orange star. Okay, now notice when I move this star object on the rectangle or on the circle, the star always stay on top of them. This basically tells us that every new object created in Adobe Illustrator will always be placed at the front of everything, quote unquote, on that current layer. We're going to discuss about layer after this. Because we create the circle after the rectangle, the circle will be on top of the rectangle. Okay, now what if we want them to switch places? For example, we want the rectangle to be in front of everything. Well, we can select it, Object menu, Arrange, Bring to Front. You can also access this via right-click, Arrange, Bring to Front. If we want to move it to the back, we can do the same thing, but now choose Send to Back. We can also move object in the depth sorting one level at a time by using Bring Forward and Send Backward. If we click this rectangle, right-click, Arrange and Bring Forward, it will move up one level in the depth sorting, so it is now on top of the circle. Another way to control depth sorting is through keyboard shortcut. As you can see in here, these are the shortcut combinations. To move forward or backward, we use Control key and open or closing bracket. To bring to front or send to back, we use Control with Shift and then the bracket keys. I think this is very clear just by looking at this shortcut info. Now we're going to move on to layers. Open the layer panel. If you don't see something like this layer panel, you can go to Window, Layer. I always have my layer panel available at the right side of the screen. Now notice when I click this triangle icon at the side of the layer 1 name in here, it will be expanded and showing all of the objects currently we have in this layer. Notice that this stack represents the stacking of our objects in here. With this we can control which one on top and which one on the bottom. Let's say I want to move the circle to on top of everything. Simply click drag this up, and now as we can see, it is now at the front of the other objects. Let's create another layer by clicking this button down here. And now that this layer is active, create a green rectangle in it. Okay, now we actually have two layers. One that holds these three objects and another layer that holds this green rectangle. If we select the green rectangle and put it on top of the others, and then right-click, Arrange, Send to Back, nothing happens. It won't go to the back of these three objects. Why? Because, again, they are in different layers. So several things we can conclude here. First, layer is like a group of stacking order or depth sorting. Second, you can use Bring to Front and Send to Back or Forward and Backward only in one layer. You can never send an object jump to another layer this way. So again, Arrange command in here are constrained by its current layer. However, what you can do for this is to move the layer stacking order by click and drag it, so it is below the layer where these three objects contained. So now this green rectangle placed in the back of the other shapes, okay? I think the concept should be very clear now. We use layers to manage objects in terms of their depth in the composition. And the best way to do this is to name your layers with more meaningful names. Now to do this, we can simply double click on the name of the layer. This will let us change the layer's name to a new one. Now besides managing depth sorting, another good use of the layer panel is to select object and copying appearance. First, about selecting objects. We can select object in the document by clicking this small colored square. Notice when we click this, the object gets selected, and when I click this, another one gets selected. If we click the square beside the layer's name, this will make all of the objects on that current layer get selected. To copy appearance, we can use these small circles in here by click and drag this circle to any other object in layer panel and release it. Notice that this object's color change according to this object's appearance. Something to take note that appearance in Adobe Illustrator is not just about color, but a lot more than that, and we're going to cover this in later videos. To be honest, I rarely use this appearance feature in layers panels, because when your artwork gets complicated, you'll have hundreds of these objects layers stacking on top of each other in here. And with these small thumbnails, you'll get dizzy right away trying to find the object you are looking for. Okay, now we're going to discuss about sublayer. When we go to the bottom of the layers panel, we will see this create new sublayer button. If we click this, we now have a new layer but located inside this parent layer. While this layer is active, when we create a new objects, they will be placed inside this new sublayer. Let's create several objects again with different colors. Sublayer has the same characteristic as layer. For example, it will constrain depth sorting arrangement inside it. If I choose this top object and send it to back, it can only go as far as the sublayer containment. One of the most important settings when working with layer is the layer's color. To access it, we can double-click on a layer to open Layer Options panel. Notice in here we can also rename the layer and we can change the color of it in here, for example, to this dark green color. Now, changing the color of a layer will not affect your final artwork, but it will change how Adobe Illustrator display anchor points when we are working in direct selection mode. In my experience, we need to change the layer's color when Adobe Illustrator decides to give a new layer with a bright color like yellow and most of our background is white. Or the layer has dark color while the background color has dark color also. In these scenarios, you might need to change the layer's color.